Hey climbers, Brent here. Are you ready to write your best songs ever? Are you ready to take that next step in your songwriting journey? Well, I want to help you with that. Listening to the C.L.I.M.B podcast is a great way to get started on your songwriting journey and to learn the basics about the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. But eventually, you're probably going to need the personal touch. You're probably going to need some one-on-one feedback, some advice, and some help reaching your songwriting goals. And that's what I want to help do for you. I want to help you write your best songs ever. And I want to help you learn the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting, of how to turn pro in your mind and in your behavior before you ever turn pro on paper. Before you ever have the awards to hang on the wall, I want to give you the mindsets and the skills to earn that stuff. And so we'll dive into your questions and I'll give you honest answers. And I can help repair your song if it's already written but has a couple bugs and has some opportunities to get better. Or we can help prepare your song if you have an idea, a notion, a title. We can do your own private song title challenge if you want. If you want to get ready for a co-write, if you have a meeting coming up and you want to get your stuff locked down where it's the best it can be, I'm happy to help you do that as well. You can see my calendar, get all the details, and actually book a session at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. Now, if you're still not sure if a coaching session with me is the right thing for you, let's listen to what this climber had to say about their session.
This review is for anyone who is on the fence about booking a session with Brent Baxter. I have done several one-on-one coaching sessions via Skype and also completed an online class that Brent hosted a few months ago. I have nothing but great things to say about both of these experiences. I am a physician and a hospital administrator. Music and songwriting are two of my favorite hobbies and have been for many years. But as a hobbyist and someone who spends a great deal of time at work and in my career, it can be difficult to concentrate on something completely unrelated, or for that matter, to devote the tremendous time and energy that is required to see decent results. Brent is a true professional who can quickly orient himself to what you want and what you need and be that perfect lyric writing partner that you otherwise would not be able to find. I tried writing with other amateurs online in the past, but it never went anywhere. Having the insight and experience of a professional, someone who has dedicated his career to the development of his craft, really makes a difference. If you do your part after he does his, I guarantee you will be happy that you spent the money and the time, and you will be hooked.
Hey guys, welcome to another song title challenge where the question is, climbers, how would you write this one? This is where the climbers, the listeners of our podcast, send in their song titles to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. Put song title challenge in the subject line so it gets into the right folder. And then I spring the titles live to Brent on the podcast like we're about to do right now. And we mimic what happens in the first 15 minutes of any professional writer, at least what should happen. And that is you've got this title and you're going to try to cook up, before you begin writing lyrics, and just the most obvious thing, which sometimes can be the right road to go down, we're going to try to cook up 4 to 5 different conceptual angles on how to write the lyrics to see if there's not a way we can twist up that title and make it even more interesting, right?
That's right.
It's not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. It's just a fun, creative exercise that will breathe life into, first of all, every write that you go from moving here on forward. And number 2, that hook book you have that you've had for years with thousands of titles in it, this is going to breathe new life into all those old titles if you go back and systematically begin applying what we're doing here to your titles. Set aside some time from that and you're going to see some really amazing things happen. So use all of what we use on the podcast in your song. Use none of it. It's completely up to you. Just invite us to the number one party, right?
That's right. We do enjoy the number one parties. Yep. This is for infotainment and inspiration. So hopefully this will be a fun thing to watch or listen to. It's going to be inspiring and go, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming at the beginning. And wow, they kept at it. Look what can happen. I ought to keep at it with my songs too. So that's the purpose of this. It's not a co-write. We're just taking shots for your benefit.
There you go. Okay. So are you ready, sir?
Never, but hey, never stopped us before.
This is from climber Mike Parker.
Hey, Mike.
And the title is Gravel Rose, like the flower, Gravel Rose.
Oh, that's tasty. Okay, Mike, nice.
I like it, right? I mean, that's just killer.
I'm not immediately mad at you like I am sometimes when people send in ideas and Johnny picks them. Right? Yeah. What I like about this is immediately I'm like, oh, this is interesting. If you threw this out in a co-write, I'd be like, oh, yeah, let's dig into this. Let's see what's here. I love the imagery of it. It's definitely a very country kind of image because of gravel roads country. That makes sense. And I'm mostly a country writer. But you have these two things that normally don't go together. Gravel, rough, rocks, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have rose, beautiful, fragile. So you have these two things that are kind of slammed together, which still makes sense. And it also sounds like gravel road, but it's not. It's gravel rose.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in here, which is interesting. So let's...
2 words, and he's already hitting home runs.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, I'm seeing stuff. I'm curious.
Yeah.
So the first thing I think of is she's a gravel rose, right?
Yeah.
She's the rose. She's the flower that's blooming in a tough, unexpected place. That thing of beauty and fragility and elegance and all the stuff a rose is, right? And she's the gravel rose, but maybe also she's tough. She's country and she's tough. So there are different ways you could play this. You know, I'm a country hammer, so most things look like country nails to me because country's mostly what I write. That's the first place I want to explore. Go, okay, if this were a country thing, it just makes sense to be about a girl, right? She's the rose. Make it a metaphor. She's a gravel rose.
Yeah.
It could be almost a darker Steve Earle kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where this girl that grew up in the rough, poor, third world America kind of thing, but she's getting out. She's a gravel rose. Like she's going to make it out. Like she's the beauty in this tough environment. Coal miner's daughter kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that could be a cool character study. Chris Knight had this song called Hard Candy. I think he wrote it with Craig Wiseman. But a similar kind of thing, this girl that grew up and she was hard candy. She was tough, but she was also beautiful and just a tough upbringing and environment and violent and everything. You could almost do that kind of thing. So it's like a darker Americana thing. Or you could do much more of a fun country bro Florida Georgia Line thing. She's my gravel rose. And of course you got to rhyme with road, right? She's my gravel rose. She's my beauty down a dirt road. She's my beauty down a back road, you know?
Yeah.
And it could be much more light and fun and groove tempo kind of thing about this girl that's your backwood beauty.
Yeah.
And maybe you list a couple of those. She's my gravel rose. She's my back road beauty. She's my down home daisy.
Yeah, if you cooked up some other very specific juxtapositions like gravel and rose. Like I know this is a band name, but Velvet Revolver.
Yeah.
You know, if you just went and did some wordplay there to try to maybe cook up some new stuff that's never been sung before on country music, that would make sense. That have country imagery, but you know, you're putting those two things together, it could be interesting.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool too. If you kind of named these different things, that'd just be really like country poetry. On one hand, you got this dark Americana thing, Southern Gothic story you could tell on one hand of this girl. And then the other hand, you have this fun bro, she's my girl, she's my gravel rose, and that sort of thing. So you're talking about like different ends of the spectrum.
I got a story to share with you real quick that could work on this. So I'm out with my then wife at the time and one of my best friends and his girl, and we were really close. And we're out at dinner. We're on Ventura Boulevard at this restaurant, and the girls walk outside on the curb. Brian and I are paying the valet, and when we come out, we just sort of notice that these two guys are like, you know, totally hitting on the girls, right? Mm-hmm. And so we just kind of smiled at each other because now this is a testament to the relationship and everything, but we were just like, oh, we felt so sorry for these guys, right? Like, I wasn't angry at them or jealous or anything like that. It was like, oh boy, they picked the wrong two girls to play with. And these guys were trying to BS the girls, okay? And they were telling them, like, they're trying to make it up that they're in the music industry and all this stuff. And the girls are playing with them like little dolls, you know? And it's just like, oh, yeah. And he's like, we managed 98 Degrees. Or what was that band? I think that was it, 98 Degrees.
Yeah,
and they're
98,
like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, that's awesome. We love them. Who are they? What? Yeah, who are the names? Who are the members of 98 Degrees? And the guys are like, well, then we also manage. So, and they just try to go on, and the girls are just shaming them, right? So that was kind of like a gravel roads kind of story where it's just like, hey, bud, I ain't even jealous. Do the best you can, and I'm here to help you up off the ropes when you get done.
They're being sweet, but they're
being as sweet as they can be, but no BS.
Yeah.
You know, like a good country girl knows exactly how to tell you what's up, doesn't mince any words, and somehow you feel good about it.
Right.
Like you don't feel attacked, but you just got schooled, you know?
Yeah. When you mentioned you're outside a bar, restaurant or something, I thought, yeah, Gravel Rose could be a really cool like bar name.
Oh, there you go. A setting.
You know, down at the Gravel Rose.
Down at the Sunset Grill kind of
Down
thing.
at the Sunset Grill, right. So that could spin off into what happens here. Like, is it a song about a bar? Is it the story that takes place in this bar? Is it a strip club? It kind of sounds like it could be a strip club. So
I was just thinking the same thing, of course, but I'm glad you came up with that first, Brent. I'm proud of you. You're coming along in our relationship, buddy.
Thank you. I can feel the flames getting closer. So that opens up a world of possibilities. Of course, then it's a whole conversation of, well, what happens here? That's not an idea. That's just like, it'd be a cool name of a bar. But Jimmy Buffett has a cool song called Bama Breeze, you know, down at the Bama Breeze, telling the story of some of the stuff that they say one time, in 1987, Mick Jagger signed the wall in the ladies' bathroom stall, that kind of stuff, and just telling these stories about this bar. So it's really so wide open. What else could it be? You know, there's the unexpected, almost like asphalt rose, the flower growing up from the sidewalk cracks. Because you wouldn't expect to see roses growing up in the middle of a gravel road or something like that. It'd be really unexpected. It's like trying to grow a gravel rose.
Oh, I like that.
Something else I thought of, too, is like, what if there's roses that are thrown out on this gravel road? And like, what's the story behind that? Why are these roses here?
Oh, yeah. Or it could be one rose, but just this beautiful Amazon stemmed rose in the middle of a gravel road. You come up to it and you're like, what?
There's a story here.
Yeah. Which one of these things is not like the other?
This probably did not end well, is why this is here.
That's right.
There's something interesting there about there's this gravel rose, and it's all this left of us sitting on the road after she threw it out the car window or something like that. You know, it could be really interesting. Of course, Rose could be the name of somebody. You could play off that as well. Seems like so many things.
Yeah, I love the rose in the middle of the gravel road, and you're like, what happened? Because it just happened, because the rose is still brand new, right?
Yeah.
It just bloomed. This is not like a decaying gravel rose. Could it be a metaphor on life, right? Like we're born to die. The second you're born, you start dying. And that rose could be that. That could be interesting, too.
Yeah, it could be everything we had. She threw it away like that gravel rose right there on the road. He gave her the roses, and she just like drove off, whatever she'd done. And then, you know, a mile or so, half a mile later, whatever, there goes out the window. Not even keeping this, your last ditch rose that you're hoping would kind of win her back or whatever. And then she just takes off and chucks it. Or what if a little bit more of That Ain't My Truck, you know, that classic Red Akins song that he was going over to try and make up with her and try to win her back, and there's some other dude there. That ain't my truck in her drive. Man, this ain't my day tonight. And then he's driving away and he just chucks him out the window. Like, no.
Ooh.
Forget this.
Ooh. Or he goes over to her house and she's got like a gravel driveway. Say that 5 times fast.
Easy for you to say.
There's a rose in it. Like he dropped one.
Yeah.
Going inside. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Or this is kind of passe, but if it had the right brand, if you did a cheating song, what if there's a gravel rose? Like you come home to the house, it's your house with her. She's not there, but there's a gravel rose, the toilet seat's up, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second.
Hold on.
Whose boots are under the bed, you know? Like
yeah, exactly. Whose boots have your bed been under? Yeah. Man, Mike, you're setting us up here. I mean, there's so much. And I know Mike's music some because I've been fortunate enough to hear several of his songs. He probably wouldn't choose to go this way, but it feels like the straight ahead, I'm writing with an artist and we're going to go get a song on the radio is kind of the bro, fun, she's my gravel rose country thing. Some of the others are really interesting, though. You know, you could go bluegrassy and go much more like storytelling. You know, what if it flew out of the car after the car wreck? Yeah. The gravel rose.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, like, well, what caused the car wreck? What's the whole story? You know, there's a gravel rose in the middle of the road. That could almost be like the opening scene. Have you ever seen, I think it's called A Perfect World or A Perfect Life with Kevin Costner? Came out 80s, 90s. But opening scene is, he's got his sunglasses on, he's lying in the field, beautiful sunshiny day, the grass is swaying and stuff, and then you see money, like $100 bills or whatever just kind of blowing in a breeze across them. As it kind of pans out, you're like, this is a good day.
Yeah.
I got money blowing in the breeze. I'm hanging out. And then by the end of it, you realize it's a much different context. But almost like that's the first scene on this rose on a gravel road, and you kind of pan out from it and going, what happened? Oh my gosh, there's some smoke and there's a car. What happened?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that. It could be, I don't know why I'm having this imagery in my head, but I'm thinking about the Beverly Hillbillies with Granny.
Yes.
It was like a crack shot. You know, maybe they called her the Gravel Rose. Maybe it's a third person story about some badass female that was your grandma or something that, you know, took care of business her damn self, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to go with it. So I think it's a great title. I think that title has you winning before you're spinning. You know, if I were to see that, that makes me want to hear it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what's going on here?
Good job, Parker.
So, yeah. Hopefully that gives you some stuff to work on, Mike.
So Michael knows how to get in touch with you, but what about other people who might want to get in touch with you to, you know, explore this a little bit more, do this with you privately? Maybe they don't want to put their title on the air, or maybe they want to help work on the song a little bit with you.
Yeah, I love doing private consulting, coaching. People do it all kinds of ways. You can send me songs for feedback, and I just record my thoughts and send it back to you, so we don't have to meet live or, you know, in real time. But then we also do like online and phone consulting calls. And so that can be anything from doing a private song title challenge where you just say, hey, I got these titles I'm not sure what to do with. Let's just bounce, and people do that. And of course, it's a lot of fun. So we do that, and then you can go take whatever I say and use whatever you want, or none of it, as we say. Then I also do Q&A about the art, craft, and business of songwriting. Nothing is off limits to ask. It's just hopefully I have a good answer for you. So we do all that kind of stuff. You can get all the details. You can see my calendar, and you can book an appointment on that calendar at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That's songwritingpro.com/coaching. And yeah, give me a shout. We'll see what happens.
Love it, guys. Well, that brings us to the end of another killer song title challenge. Once again, send your titles into info@daredevilproduction.com, and please put song title challenge in the subject line so that it gets into the right folder. I mean, we get a boatload of emails every day, and we want to make sure that we don't miss anything. But if you don't title it right or put the right thing in the subject line, it's very possible it'll be missed. So please put that in the subject line. And this podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.
Song title challenge.